Hello, Bible Beaters. Welcome to another episode of the Bible Beater Podcast. This is the Lord of Hosts, Caleb Campbell, joined as always by the interrupter, Kyle Vestner. How's it going anyways, Kyle?
Fucking pumped.
What are you so pumped about?
Dude, it's your party.
Oh, we're having a little partay later, but...
Little celebration?
Don't. You've got fucking drops for this bullshit?
No.
Okay.
But I do have this.
It's my party and I'll cry.
I love this song.
So do I.
I fully agree with the sentiment. It's my party and I'll cry. Fuck you. Yeah, I love that song. I think that song is badass.
That song is badass. I mean, it's also kind of sad and pathetic, but...
It is sad, but dude, it's my party and I'll cry
Yeah, but
if
if
I
you listen
want
to the song, she's crying because Johnny was her boyfriend and he walked out holding another girl's hand.
Okay, that's lame. But whenever it's about you, like if it's my party,
It's my party and
Yeah.
I'll pee if I want to.
in my own mouth, if I want to. Yeah.
My face if I want to. You know what I found out a milestone?
What?
It's a tragic inevitability for where the internet is going. Censorship across the board. The original Bubbler video
Yeah.
on Pornhub
Yeah.
has been taken down.
Why?
Darb told me
But not for censorship.
they censored it.
It was too graphic for fucking Pornhub?
I don't know. He just told me it got taken down.
It was probably getting flagged all the time for like two fags peeing each other's mouths, and they're like, "These guys aren't gay. That guy is not gay."
They're too gay. Maybe they were too gay.
Maybe we were too gay. I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Isn't that the site where that's like totally allowed? There's like a category for that.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened.
I think Darb just like didn't. I don't know. I think Darb didn't pay his like union
You don't
dues.
have to pay.
I'm making a joke mostly, but how the fuck? Yeah, how did you get kicked off Pornhub?
Because you're only allowed to do it if you're only allowed to piss another man's mouth. If you are gay, you have to identify as queer.
Sure,
Or-
I'll
or be a
identify
trans
as
woman.
that. I've made out with a
Pissing
lot
with your
of
dick
dudes.
into
What's the
another
gayest thing you've ever
Trans
done?
woman's mouth. Humped
Besides,
you on the bed and then you pull down your pants.
so that's great that I could be a part of that. The gayest thing I've ever done was I came home one time and my close personal friend Jeff was there, and he looked at me like lovingly, lustfully, and he kind of like walked over. And I was like, okay, this is gay chicken. Let's go. So I walked towards him, and he put his hand on my waist. There's nobody else there. This is not. There's like
Get out of here.
There's not like a crowd.
It's just you two?
Just us two. He leans in. I lean in. We kiss. We lick. We make out. And then I was
Get
like,
the fuck out of here.
"Are we gonna fuck now?" He's like, "No, I think we both proved our point." True story.
That you won't back down.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Did another friend of yours literally ask you to jerk him off?
Yeah, that's another. I guess
Different guy?
That would be different guy. That's that's probably gayer.
I think it was genuine too, right?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'll tell the story. Okay, so we were at AMF, right? Armstrong Metal Fest. Great fucking time.
Yeah.
And we're doing.
If you're in central northern BC, it's the only thing around. If you're a metalhead, fuck.
It's actually Necrogoblicon was there last time.
No fucking way.
It's legit. Yeah.
Necrogoblicon?
Yes, dude. I've told
The
you this.
Goblin?
Yes. He led the 100-man shotgun after Darb fucked it up.
We never said who did it.
Well,
That was really
Darb
funny.
fucked it up, and he got me kicked off Pornhub. So.
Yeah. It's 2 for 1.
Anyways, we're doing every drug that we can find all at the same time, calling it scrambled eggs. There's, coke and ecstasy and whatever in there.
I mean, that's fine. So far. So far, so good.
But so we're like day 2, and we're like, we buck these rails, and Kyle
What?
Kyle just fucking wanders off, and he's like, rubbing his hands and his jaw's going sideways. I'm like, what's this motherfucker doing? So I'm like, I'm going to follow him. And he walks behind the fucking barn to like this, like where all the trees are. There's like this little grassy area. It honestly looked like a scene out of a movie. Like, when the light shines down on Jesus, he was like in between the trees and the light was coming down right on this perfect little bed of grass. And he lays on his back and just starts jerking off. And I'm like, what the fuck
Not
are you?
looking at anything?
No, he's just like
Just
staring at the sky.
fantasizing?
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, dude, I just got so horny. I just like had to jerk off. He's like, hey, you want to give me a hand job?
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, no, Kyle.
One bro to another? Come
Yeah,
on.
and that's exactly what he said. I'm like, no. He's like,
Also, I'm the Kyle in the story.
and he's like, you want to give me a hand job? I'm like, no, Kyle. Are you serious?
Why not, dude? I thought we were friends.
No. He goes, the wording is important. He goes, do you want to give me a hand job? And I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, are you wanna? I was like, no, fuck no, Kyle. Like, let's go back and party. And he's like, come on, just give me a hand job.
Why are you trying to recruit this guy who's beaten up?
And I'm like,
Back to the party.
well, now I'm there, and he was jerking off. So now I'm like, no, let's
you know what
just
a
get out of
normal
here.
person does? Just turns right around.
Well, I wanted to embarrass him, but he was just like, oh, good, Caleb's here. He could jerk me off. I thought I'd be like, hey, fucker. And he'd be like, oh, shit. And I'd laugh, right? And I'd go tell everybody I caught Kyle jerking off. No, it didn't happen that way. He's like, I'm glad you're here. And he's like, come on, give me a hand job. I'm like, no, fuck no. And he's like, come on. And I'm like, hang on, are you serious? And he looks at me and like cocks his head kind of sideways and goes, kinda, which is the only way I knew he was serious.
Yeah.
If he would have said yes, I would have known he was joking. If he would have said no, I would have known he was joking. But he's like, kinda, like I am if you are. And I'm like, fuck no, Kyle. And he's like, I thought we were friends. And I turn around and walk away, and he's just like beating himself up, like, what's a hand job between friends? And I just hear it as I like leave the floor. It's like, I thought we were friends.
You know what? I think it was yesterday I saw a video, like a little comedy
Like it was
sketch.
yesterday.
Almost exactly like that.
Well,
So,
that happened
dude,
to me in
he's
real life.
It's almost exactly the same. Yours happened before this video even came out.
Okay, good.
But the guy stole your bit, dude.
Whatever. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first guy to get proposed by his half gay fucking best friend.
It's close to that. Yours was way gayer somehow, but this one is pretty gay.
It was at a metal festival, so no, it wasn't.
Now that makes it super gay. So the guy walks in and his roommate's jerking off, and he does the same thing, tries to embarrass him.
Yeah.
It's a sketch, and the guy goes, wait, like in his own thoughts, he goes, wait, if I start jerking off, he's just watching a dude jerk off, and that makes him gay. And then he starts jerking off. And he's like, wait, are you jerking off again? He's like, yeah, why are you watching? You fag.
They're both watching. Well, that totally trumped what I had a bit planned to talk about that we just
Your little
can't.
skit?
Not really. It just like, I don't know, something I thought was an interesting story, but it's not even close to best friends jerking each other off. So I think we should just move on.
That's wild.
Um,
Want to talk about label makers?
Not really, Kyle.
It's cool. I just got one. No, I don't want to talk about it. Just got one. Just saying.
Kyle, no one gives
Sticker
a shit
merch
about your fucking
They will.
flipping garage sale items.
First of all, I'm using it for merch, and then I'm flipping it. Getting some utility out of this shit.
Do you remember what we read last week, Kyle?
Probably. It's in there somewhere.
We read about Rehoboam, the king of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
He did some shit. Wasn't really that impactful. So we got, just to summarize where we're at in the story, there's Israel's now split into two. There's the north, which is Israel, and then there's the south,
Which
which
way?
is
Hot dog or hamburger?
hamburger.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's split hamburger, but Israel is shaped like a hot dog. So it's like a hot dog cut in half, hamburger style.
Oh, gotcha. Perfect.
It's not really cut in
That's the
half.
scariest way to cut a hot dog.
It's like 2/3 and a third. Anyways, Judah's in the
Just the
south.
tip, then.
Israel's in the north. Rehoboam is king of Judah. The next like chapter and a bit is just like a bunch the kings of Judah and what they did in their lives. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in 1 Kings chapter 15, and
Is there a second Kings?
yes, there is. That's every book with a first has a second and sometimes a third.
That makes sense.
Yes.
We've just been in first for a long time.
We've been in First Genesis. I mean, if you would stop interrupting, we could make some progress. But there's First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, First and Second Chronicles, all back to back to back.
Gotcha.
So it feels like you're not making much progress. And I mean, the obvious dumb joke is First Kings, and we've already seen 3. So what the fuck type of numbering system is this?
Yeah, that is the obvious joke.
Well,
Wish someone made it.
number 15, chapter 15. In the 18th year of the reign of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijah became king of Judah, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. So he's king in the south. So
Okay.
Jeroboam is still... Remember, Jeroboam, despite God saying that he was going to smite his whole family and burn them to death...
Just killed his son.
No,
Right?
yeah, killed his son, but then another descendant of his takes the throne. So God didn't live up to his threat at all.
No, he just killed his wife's favorite, his wife's firstborn.
They like to punish the women for
really
for
do.
stuff the guys do.
Hey, by the way, it's his fault, but I'm not going to tell you that. So as soon as you walk back into town, your kid dies.
Yeah.
So now it's on you, really.
Yeah. Yes.
So now the husband can go, "You murdered our son, you fucking bitch.
Yes.
If you didn't step foot into the city like God told you, our son would still be alive."
I mean, that's a very warped way to look at it, but you could look at it
Absolutely.
that way. I mean, it's kind of a Schrodinger's...
God's saying he's punishing me, right?
Yeah.
Through doing this. But the trigger, like God loaded a gun,
Yeah.
pointed it at our son because of me.
Yeah.
You pulled the trigger by walking back into town.
You bitch.
You bitch.
That's a theme in the Bible, blaming women for things that guys
Well, they're
do.
the worst.
Well, the first thing Adam says, I love this line: "The woman you put here with me caused me to do it." As he removes himself 3 times. That I didn't do it, she did, and you put her here with me. Like, I'm totally innocent. I did eat it, but the woman you put here with me made me eat it.
They are tricky.
And I don't know. We have 2,000 years of misogyny, like based on that. Like they really truly believe. Like bishops and scholars and theologians said for all time, yes, it's women's fault. Man fell. It's literally women's fault. Man fell because they called man, like humanity, man. Man fell because of women.
I should call it womanity.
I mean, that's just preposterous, Tony, Kyle. No one.
It's not man because of man and woman. It's man because human.
Yeah. I mean, sure, but you really think no?
It's human.
It's not. Then they would say humankind. It's mankind because it's men.
Human.
The men who wrote it. Thousands
Mankind
of years
is short
ago.
for humankind.
No, it isn't. They really meant.
Humankind's a word.
I know it is, but when the word was originated back in the Bible times, many, many, many thousands of years
Fine.
ago.
They should have called it dumb bitch kind.
I mean, no one would subscribe to that either. The point I'm saying, don't try to.
I don't agree with you, but it's semantics, and there's no way of knowing.
Well, you're trying to gaslight me into saying it's not a misogynic.
Gaslighting you?
It is a misogynist phrase to say mankind.
Disagree.
It in fact is.
Disagree. I think it's short for humankind.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
It's not gaslighting.
Yes, it is.
Gaslighting-
Because that's not true, Kyle.
No, gaslighting is making false opinions, pretending that you have. That's what gaslighting is. Just disagreeing with
Okay,
you
whatever.
isn't gaslighting.
Okay, fuck you then.
See, I'm not gaslighting you right now. You're just wrong.
Maybe
About the first thing, definitely about what gaslighting is.
we're moving on. In the
That's something
18th
funny,
year.
though?
In the 18th
Sorry, I just
year.
remembered something. So, I don't know what, because you said misogyny. I remember there's this girl I dated like right when I first started dating.
That'd be a great stripper name.
Misogyny. That is a good one. Just in the deep south.
I'm misogyny.
Trailer Park Strip Club.
Okay, what about this girl?
So I didn't see her for a couple years. We dated for a little bit. And then
Did she know you were gay?
Yeah, maybe. Honestly.
Maybe.
She probably thinks. I was too nervous to make a move. She was making all kinds of moves.
And it's your girlfriend?
No, we were just dating.
Okay.
We just went on like 8 dates or something.
Oh my God. You said the funniest thing the other day when we were out for lunch. I can't remember how it came up, but we were talking about confidence and talking to girls. And you were like, somebody's like, yeah, it's confidence. You just need confidence. That's what girls like. And you're like, and it's impossible to fake. Just like the true colors came out. You can't fake it.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was
So anyways, long story short, I run into her at a bar with my friends. She walks up to our table with some fucking animal mask on. She was weird. I like weird chicks though.
before the days of masks being normal.
Yeah, like a raccoon mask or something in a bar where no one else is dressed up,
Oh,
by the way.
Was she a furry?
No, she's just weird.
Okay.
She probably found that somewhere that day, you know?
My wife's pretty weird. I like weird chicks.
Yeah, they're probably the same weird in different ways. Same level, I mean. So she stands at the end of the table, and there were like 6 to 8 people, and just stands there for like 5 seconds, felt like a minute, and just staring, and then took off the mask. I was like, oh, shit, I haven't seen you in whatever. So we go talk.
Oh, so you didn't know this? Yeah, she's got a mask on.
I had no idea who it
I'm
was.
just now catching up
Everyone
to the
is
story.
very confused, and she's just staring.
She didn't say hi.
No, she said not a goddamn word until she took the mask off.
This sounds like true love, Kyle. You should call this chick back. That's what you used to do.
I tried to. Doesn't matter. So I fucking weirded her out in the in the bar because she caught me so off guard that she was like, because I just started stand up.
You weirded her out.
Well, yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean, it was probably on the same level, maybe not.
Okay.
But I always think I did, you know,
Yeah.
and it probably did. Let's just go with I
Safe
did.
to assume.
Safe bet. So she asked me what I was doing. I was like, because I was in Cologne. I just came back for like a visit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what are you doing there? I'm like, I actually stayed to do stand-up. And she's like, oh, well, I love stand-up. The whole thing, what kind of comedy do you do? I was like, mostly misogynistic, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
And then she confused me so bad. She like, it's good to know that she's weird because she just went, like massage in me? And I had no idea what she was saying. I had no idea what that meant. She just kept like, she said like 3 times, she's like massage in me?
That's a little innuendo, Kyle.
Yeah, I know.
Like she wants you still to
Yes,
put your
I
penis
didn't get
inside
it. I didn't get it. I got nothing back then. I knew nothing. I still barely
It's
know
so
anything.
hard to fake.
I was just confused. That's a weird thing to say.
I mean, massage the inside of me with
No,
your
I get
penis,
it!
Kyle.
And then we just awkwardly stood there, and then she left. And that's pretty much it.
Man, sick. I would high five you if you were closer.
Yeah, it's a dope story. I'm a fucking player, dude.
Okay, so in the 18th year, in the reign of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, Abijah became king of Judah, and he reigned Jerusalem 3 years. His mother's name was Maacah. Very strange she gets named in here.
After a bird.
We were just talking about, oh yeah, there's the macaw. Aren't they the parrots?
I think so. I think they
The
talk.
colored parrots?
They talk more
Like
than she's.
the pirate parrots.
Ironically, the bird is allowed to talk more than her.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't get named, and it's weird that this is random, but I guess she is the king's mother. So his mother's name is Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. Does that sound familiar, Kyle?
Shalom?
Abishalom?
The
Absalom.
Shalom, maybe.
Absalom is maybe, they think it might be Absalom.
He's trans? The original trans?
I don't think so. I don't think they had trans back then. Oh, actually,
Pretty sure
hang
they
on.
did, actually.
Yeah, eunuchs. They had many of them. They would cut the dicks off male servants so that they could be trustworthy. That's a
They cut
practice.
their dick or their balls?
Dick and balls, or dick,
What?
or balls. It's all. Sometimes it's all three. Who knows?
What do they do? Just cauterize that
but
shit if it was a woman?
Most of the time, sometimes they die. It was like a thing that many slaves died from. They're like, oh, if we killed another one by
There's a lot of blood there.
yeah. I think mostly just the balls.
You know how like when you get horny or like blood goes to your dick?
I've heard of
Or
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
So if you have no dick, does it and you get horny, does it just start spraying blood like a super soaker?
I mean,
It's got nowhere to go.
if it was recently cut off, if somehow someone cut off your dick and then made you horny,
Yeah.
if that was possible, I think it would start squirting pretty far.
Like, yeah. Like someone mimes sucking your dick because there's nothing left to do. Oh, or you could be Conrad and you have your dick cut off and then they're just eating your ass.
Conrad got his dick cut off.
No, but if he did,
Oh.
he could get his ass eaten. It makes him the horniest.
Does he like getting? I don't
I
really
think-
actually care to talk about this.
I don't know.
Gross. Okay, so
If you'd like to hear more, listen to episode 1 to 20 of the Heavy Met Chad podcast.
when he's still fuck you. I fucking hate the constant. Does he ever plug the Bible Beater podcast and Chad?
Here and there.
Okay, good. I just hate that this has become a glorified Have You Met Chad commercial.
It's more of a commercial for me and everything I'm great at.
So verse 3, he this is Abijah, the king. He committed all the sins his father had done before him. His heart was not fully devoted to God, the Lord his God, as the heart of David his forefather had been. Nevertheless, for David's sake, the Lord his God gave him a lamp in Jerusalem by raising up a son to succeed him and by making Jerusalem strong. For David had done what was right in the eyes of the Lord and had not failed to keep any of the Lord's commands all the days of his life.
What?
Except in the case of Uriah the Hittite. It's the first time they acknowledge that in retrospect.
Wow.
But yeah, pretty
I mean,
outrageous.
they wrote down many.
Yeah, pretty outrageous. But it is funny it is funny how they keep like I think you're starting to see the propaganda.
I get why people are like, yeah, of course David's awesome.
Because it's just over and over and over, God's favorite.
If you skip those, I don't know how many books that was. Not books, but how many chapters that was. If you skip over those chapters, David seems awesome. Because in the retrospect telling of that story, David's the shit.
Yeah.
He's so good that even though the rest of his lineage was so bad, God normally punished them for like 10 generations, but he just keeps on letting it slide.
And he keeps saying, I'm going to get the next one of you fucks to fall out of line. I like David so much. And do you think David's up there chilling with God? And like,
he's like, come on.
Yeah. In fact, at this point in the Bible, in Bible lore, there is no heaven. There's just like you go to the grave and then God's going to resurrect you. Heaven gets introduced later, but let's just assume David's.
Do you think they could sell religion without afterlife?
No, that the whole point of it is about the afterlife. That's the entire reason religion exists. And everyone
you know what I mean?
Like,
as soon as you eliminate that, do you think you could sell religion on how to live your life if there was no reward at the end?
Well, that's what Buddhism is. And so
what's your reward of Buddhism? Peace while you're
nirvana, which is eternal.
So you get
I mean they're advertising it on Earth, but it's true though. If you can actually warp your brain enough to not give a fuck about anything, you did it. You can just stay. You can be poor and stare at the wall.
Yeah, I think monks pray them or meditate themselves retarded.
That's bliss.
Literally.
That's nirvana.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Straight up. I mean, we're talking two words for the same thing.
Sorry, I gotta take this.
Okay, so can we pause?
No. Hey, sorry, I have to take this.
Who is this?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, Chad, you're on the Bible Beaters podcast.
Oh, how's it going, Bible Beaters? How's it going, dildos?
Did you plan this?
Yes.
Hey, Gil, how you doing?
Hey, Chad, I'm doing all right, buddy. What the fuck are you doing on my podcast?
I'm just taking a piss. I just took a piss break. Thought I'd interrupt you guys.
It sounds like your mouth is empty, Chad.
Chad's on a date.
I'm on a date.
Oh.
And I met her, long story short, I met her at Country Fest 2 years
What the
ago.
fuck is happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
On Bumble the other day.
This is how Chad pitched it. He's like, I'm gonna have diarrhea before the date. I need to call you in panic. And I was like, okay, you can call if you need help with something. Not just to fucking. No one cares how you met her.
I mean, I actually kind of do now. If we're actually gonna fucking do this.
I said you had 30 seconds.
I gotta go. I got like 1 minute here, so I just wanted to give
Massager from the inside, Kyle, or Chad.
Yeah, how's it going?
Finger
Good?
fucker butt.
Good? Yay or nay?
Dude, she's so hot, man.
Okay.
So
Gangsta
hot.
girl.
All right, give her a gangster girl for the Bible Beaters, guy.
Okay, right on. Okay, have a good night, guys.
Goodbye. Oh, that's Chad from the Heavy Met Chad podcast.
Oh,
we heard earlier.
My God. I'm so annoyed. Okay.
I can't believe he just didn't have anything to say. He just called anyways. He was just so excited.
You just want to say, how's it going, dildos?
Yeah.
All right. She's waiting.
She's so fucking hot.
You're going to want to tune into the next episode of Bible Beaters. I'm featured in it. Oh, man. I'm going to find out. I'm going to listen to Chad. I'm going to find out who this girl is. I'm going to send her this episode so that she can know what he was doing when he said he had to take a shit. Fuck Chad.
Just ruined his day.
Oh, she's so fucking hot, dude. She could be the one. All right. So back to the Bible here. So we got Abijah. He committed all the sins that David or his father did, which was Jeroboam. But God still allowed a son to succeed him, even though God promised he was going to burn him, his whole family in the previous chapter. There was a war between Rehoboam.
God has no conviction. That's why I don't respect any of his threats.
Yeah, me neither. I respect none of his threats. So,
like, we've done everything we possibly could.
Here's the sad part. This is what actually pisses me off. I don't know if I've said this before, but inevitably, bad things will happen to me. My wife might get cancer. I could get hit by a car. You know, generally I could probably
that only became a
overdose
bad thing since you got married.
on
That was
fentanyl.
almost a positive.
Well, I'm just saying, inevitably bad things will happen to me.
Yeah.
It's just the way life is.
Yes.
And then when that happens, all the Christians who go, he's going to get his, that's God's justice. He finally got his. Like, they always win at the end, which is so annoying because everybody dies, right?
Uh-huh.
But the Christians,
And everyone dies scared for the most part, too.
yeah, and alone, and it's going to hurt like a fuck. No matter how you die, it's going to hurt like a fuck. That's why
Shotgun to the dick.
I plan to be drunk as fuck and driving. No.
I want to take out someone with me.
No.
Oh, yeah, you think you lived righteously? How about now?
Yeah.
Driving drunk through a church. That's a pretty good way to go.
It's just annoying that they like inevitably are going to get the last word, right? Oh,
Well,
God.
but you're annoyed that they think they've won.
Yes, I'm very annoyed by that. But they do that all the fucking time. They over and over and do it throughout history. And they're like, that's what you get. Oh, after living for 20, like Jeroboam, King Jeroboam, he lives for 22 years. His son succeeds him as king. They're like, he got his. God showed him, right? His son died. Then he lived for another 22 years.
Like a long, healthy life back then.
That pisses me off. Anyways,
And now he gets to go to heaven, probably.
I mean, he is the king, God's anointed. So there was a war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam throughout Abijah's lifetime.
Little brother against brother.
Yes. How is Abijah the king of Judah when Rehoboam and Jeroboam
Rehoboam
are...
and Jeroboam.
Yeah, right? So there's a war between the...
Who is Abijah again?
Oh, this must have been when he was... So he's the son of Rehoboam. So he was a prince when this war was happening.
Okay.
But this is very interesting. There was a war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam throughout Abijah's lifetime. As for the other events of Abijah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the Annals of the Kings of Judah?
Right up in there.
The Annals? Yeah.
I heard it's pretty hard to read.
Okay, it's the Annals. Okay, but so we've talked about this before, but I did some studying about this. It is wild how much stuff is referenced in the Bible that is not in the Bible. Okay? So I looked up the book.
Like the books that they reference.
Yes, like the
Were
book.
were they commonplace books at the time that people would just know, or were they things that got left out of the Bible in the final cut?
Well, either they got left out in the final cut, or they were destroyed or lost, or they didn't, as Dan Carlin would say, they didn't come down to us through history. They were destroyed, lost, forgotten, whatever. But
He has a little gay term for that. Dan Carlin does.
yeah, I mean,
Come down to us.
it's a good way to say it.
Bestow.
That's a good way to say it,
knowledge
because there's
upon
many
our
different
being.
ways that things can come down to us through history. But
Stop saying it.
the point is, Kyle, and we've touched on this before, is so like the Bible, right? This is the whole point of this podcast is to read the Bible in its ridiculous entirety to expose how fucking dumb it is, so less people believe it, right?
Yeah.
Because everything Christians believe comes from not everything. Most things Christians believe start with the Bible, and a lot of things that branch out from the Bible. Now, this is a constant debate that I'm having against Christians. Is we've taken the stance that the Bible is inerrant, factual, and literal. This is the
Inerrant?
no mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's no mistakes.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not taking that stance. But what I'm saying is, to believe in your God, you have to.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's all. So, yeah.
So the
I
very
guess.
annoying counter argument to that is, look, the gist of the message is true, and the details don't really matter. And you would be surprised how many Christians believe that.
Well, fine. Then you go, is your God infallible?
Well,
Does he have the capacity to make you understand him clearly?
yes, those are
So he chose not to, and you have no idea to decipher
Exactly.
what is true and what isn't
exactly
based on that.
You cut right to the quick. But
So then nothing could be true.
but let me just like nuance
Okay.
this a little bit more. You're
Sure.
totally right, by the way. I think what you think, but I talk to these Christians all the time, and the more you hammer them, because my whole point is they have it in writing. They have to defend what the fuck this says, right? Because this is the source of all their dumb ideas, right? But because it's so preposterone Tony and demonstrably wrong, they can't. So they go, That's really not what it means. I know it says kill all the women and children, but it really means like destroy evil in your midst. And you're like, how do you get that? Because it would be insane for God to do that. It's like,
so all those kids were going to grow up to be Hitlers of some magnitude.
Exactly that. They were so evil, they had to be killed as infants. A lot of them.
So
all the Amorites.
So then infants,
every single Ammonite.
So infants are destined for evil, according to God's plan.
Yes, very good point, Kyle. Exactly that. God doesn't create evil; humans choose it.
No, because they were children.
No, their parents chose evil, and thus they had to be punished.
Then by that logic, if they had just killed their parents, then they would no longer be evil. Because their parents would have no influence on their lives.
Kyle, I don't have a very good response to that.
I liked your other ones, though.
I can't. Well, I haven't actually said that to Christians before.
Yeah, I know.
Which is actually really good. I'm going to from now on say that. But they say they lived in an evil society, and sometimes evil needs to be completely purged, Kyle. That's just obvious. Thus, the Holocaust, done by a Catholic, they were Christians, all of them.
Were they?
Hitler was Catholic, and it was a holy.
Did the Muzzies get in there at all, or no?
It was the Christianity in the Holocaust. I really shouldn't have even brought it up because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I know that Hitler was a practicing Catholic, and I know that.
Wasn't he agnostic at some point? Don't people say that? No, it wasn't him. It was another bad
Stalin.
guy.
Stalin was irreligious, and he was an atheist. They're like, look at the evil that atheists do, and then you can point to so many more evil Christians. It's crazy. There's so many more evil Christians than there are atheists.
Well, I also don't subscribe that they act like they got you on that.
Yeah.
But that's only if you're saying that being a Christian makes you into a Hitler character, which obviously isn't true.
Yeah, authoritarianism or dictatorship, like in all its forms, is bad.
There's infinite Christians,
be it Christian,
and
atheists,
they're not all Hitlers,
Muslims,
right?
Hindu, or whatever.
You can't just attribute one thing to
any system of belief that has, life or death power.
Yeah, I don't think you're evil. I just think you're dumb.
That's what I think too.
You're dumb.
So. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So,
you know how they go, you're scared, like, once you're on your deathbed, you'll be scared and go to God. It's funny to acknowledge that the only thing leading you to your own beliefs is just fear.
Yes, but they don't see it that way. It's actually love, Kyle. It's actually that I love God so much.
I've had multiple Christians say that to me.
I know, but it's the double think of it's actually love, but what you're totally right.
You're scared of not having love then.
No. It's fear, but then all of a sudden it's love. No, it's actually love. Mm-hmm. But you just said it's because you're going to die. Yes, but God loves me.
God's like an abusive husband.
But God loves me so much. He really is. We've made that metaphor many times. So I looked up the book of the Annals of Judah, and 2
fingers deep.
I stumbled across. So I already knew there was many books in reference in the Bible that aren't in the Bible, and that so. Oh man, I'm feeling like I'm crazy because I keep going on these side tangents. There's the list of non-canonical books. What's crazy about
non-canonical
books that aren't in the Bible that are referenced in the Bible. So tying this all together, what's crazy about this to me is that if there's all the other things that happened in his reign, are they not mentioned in this other book? And so the Christians get to say, well, those aren't relevant to the story, right? If they weren't in the Bible, it's not relevant to your salvation, right? But think about all the irrelevant shit. Think about the measurements of the temple. Yeah. Think about the fucking, marching here and there, the Asherah poles.
Well, you have to assume that's relevant to your salvation.
But that's what I'm talking about. They get to this selective interpretation. This is what it always comes down to with the Bible, because you can't defend the Bible because it's indefensible. But it's the source of all their dumb ideas. So
you can defend it. Watch me do it right now. Okay, so before we debate this, you have to 51% agree that I'm right.
Listen to the Patreon if you want to know what Kyle's talking about. I got into an argument. So just to tease it, I guess, I got into some pastor that used to go to my church saw what the fuck I was doing on Facebook and
this is like he's been a naughty boy and decided to correct him.
He was like, "Hey man, it seems like you're an Antichrist." I was like, "Dope nickname, I'll take that."
The Antichrist, actually. Capitalize that.
And anyways, we got talking, and his whole—I won't say what his whole thing is, but He wanted me to start from a place of believing it already, and then you can believe it more.
He said the only way for you to understand my point is to 51% already agree with me.
And I was like, you know that fucking guy, the blinking guy meme?
And he was so certain that that made perfect sense.
Well,
Just absolutely convinced that that was a genius way to look at it.
that's what they think. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. Is they start from a place of believing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they fucking, like, oh, you can't take it literally because it's insane. So you have to interpret it. And then slowly, by interpretation, they just drop all kinds of relevant parts out of it till you're left with Jesus is love and everyone goes to heaven and hell isn't real. That's like what most Christians today believe. And how did you fall on just that? How is that the belief that you get out of the Bible after we've spent over 2 years reading massacres upon massacre that God has done?
Yeah, well, they go, okay, those parts don't really relate to how I want to live my life as a Christian.
Yes.
But these parts relate to how I've already decided I'd like to live my life. So now when people disagree with me, instead of defending my point, I can go, actually, the Bible says it. And now I don't have to. The rest of that, though? Oh, that's not really for me. I don't defend that part because that's not for me.
So I just want to read. This is from Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
This is the non-canonical books referenced in the Bible. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just going to kind of make a list just so you can know all the shit that is maybe relevant to your salvation that God chose not to include for whatever reason. To me, this is a very...
God, it's weird for... You know what's weird? I just realized. It's weird for God to reference a book he didn't write.
Yes.
Isn't that fucking bizarre?
Well...
A being that knows everything.
Okay, well,
correct?
I'm taking the extreme view of the Bible that God inspired it directly. The typical Christian view is that people wrote it and God inspired it, and what we have is, good enough for your salvation.
No God, so you can't. I refuse to believe that.
Right? But
there's no God then. There's only people.
That's the prevailing view amongst Christians, is that there's some sort of mysterious text, the Bible, that we're supposed to read between the lines of to make up some magical God that's good. That's their whole fucking point, and it drives me insane. And when you try to pin them down on it, they just wiggle around interpretation and just quote John 3:16.
They're wormy, those fucking Christians.
They just quote John 3:16 at you.
What,
as
then
if
shotgun 2 Budweisers?
Austin 3:16.
What's John 3:16?
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and who should ever believe in him shall not perish but shall have everlasting life.
Oh.
That's Christianity in one verse. That
makes Stone Cold a little gayer in my mind now that's what I know it is.
Do you
There's some
wanna know-
awesome lines
Do you know the
in
real
Bible.
story? The real story behind that? Jake the Snake Roberts
Yeah.
was a fucking wrestler. Jake the Snake. He actually came to our church. I had a signed piece of paper from him. I got pictures with him
Just
and
a
the
piece
snake.
of paper?
Well, he went full on Christian. Yeah, my dad's like, you got to get a signature, and like
That sounds like Wes.
pulled his bulletin out of the back of the chair and like signed. I don't know what it was. It was like some wrinkly scrap of paper that I had for a while. And I was like, I don't even like wrestling. Why do I care about this guy's autographs?
Because he's a snake.
Autographs are so fucking dumb, by the way.
They are dumb. If they're not commemorating some, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's dumb too. I was just about to say commemorating a moment, but then if you're hanging out with somebody and you get them to sign something, that's pathetic.
I mean, sign my birthday card and it's between me and you. But yeah, some fan.
That's pathetic. If you have to go up asking people to sign your birthday card, that's fucking sad.
Normally somebody else.
Yes,
asks.
someone else.
Anyways, Jake the Snake came to our church, and he's a wrestler, wild man, drug addict, alcoholic.
Yeah.
Found God, right?
Pretty rad dude.
Found God. Did the fucking church circuit. Went to all the churches.
Pretty sweet. You can find God after
Made a bunch
living...
of money. Fell back out of his faith. Went back to drugs and alcohol.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Dope.
I think. Now that you're asking, I hate being on the record.
Just say it, dude.
Well,
Just say it.
I feel a duty to.
Here's the thing.
To not.
You know how you
slander-
second guess yourself?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be, I'm going to say 20% of the time you're not second guessing yourself.
That's
you're
wrong,
still
too.
wrong.
That's wrong,
so
too.
it makes no difference.
So he gets back to drugs and alcohol, but the point is, so Jake the Snake, the Austin 3:16 thing that nobody ever remembers. They only remember Austin 3:16.
Uh-huh.
Jake the Snake comes out and he's holding up a Bible and he's telling everyone to repent, repent, repent. And then Stone Cold comes out and goes, "You're trying to sell Austin or John 3:16. This is Austin 3:16." Stunners him 2 beers.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So,
that rules.
yes. So he fucking slammed. Yeah, it was awesome.
So was Austin 3:16's a mockery?
Of the Bible, yeah. And Jake the Snake Roberts.
That kicks ass.
And I met Jake the Snake Roberts because of my weird celebrity church life.
You lived a weird fucking existence.
Isn't it crazy that I'm like somehow connected to Austin 3:16?
And because of your dad, you're getting a free pass. Much like whatever the fuck their name is.
Jeroboam and Abijah.
All these fucking followers of your father really want to save you.
I know.
It's great.
I mean, it's not great.
It's good content.
It's good content for sure. I mean, it's great for me. My life is super easy. Anyways, that was a long sidetrack. So, as for back to the Bible here, verse 7. As for the other events of Abijah's reign, are they not recorded in the annals of the book of Judah? There was a war between Abijah and Jeroboam, and Abijah rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And Asa, his son, succeeded him as king. Asa, king of Judah. In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Asa became king of Judah, and he reigned Jerusalem 41 years. That is a long fucking reign. His grandmother's name was Maacah, daughter of Abishalom. I mean, of course, the Bible just said that. Verse 11. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. Kyle is peeing right now, so I guess I'll talk about what I was gonna talk about at the beginning of the. Oh, he's back. Kyle, you're gonna love this. So Abijah dies. He's buried with his. He's buried with his dad. Forrest Piss, the Josh Ashton story. So
didn't wear a gas glove though.
There's a new Abijah dies. New king. His name's Asa. He's a good guy.
Massa?
Asa. A-S-A.
Work in the field. That's part of that. That's
A-S-A. Like the porn star Akira.
Oh, Asa Akira.
Yeah. So Asa,
I like how I like porn stars when they go, "Actually, I'm really smart." Yeah, okay. Well, you didn't do anything with it. If you truly are, you got fucked in all your holes instead of using your brain.
Smart chicks get fucked in all their holes, dude.
Yeah, but not for a living.
Fair enough.
I mean, generally speaking,
Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord.
It's just funny to claim you're.
She took 15 black guys inside of her butt at one time. No, the Bible doesn't say that.
It's like being a basement or living in your parents' basement and be like, actually, I'm 140 IQ. Like, okay, well,
I did do that. You've
done nothing with it.
Yeah.
There's no accomplishment there. And in fact, you had it at bigger advantage than other people and squandered it.
No, in fact, I was not an idiot and went out and joined the rat race. I instead let my parents pay for my fucking giant brain to play video games and get high all day. That's a 140 IQ move.
Uh-huh.
Just because society says that I'm some sort of fat loser, doesn't make it true. That's the whole thing, Kyle.
Go on.
It's very annoying when you say "go on." It really is.
I had no idea. God damn, I'm sorry.
Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord.
What would you prefer instead?
Listen to this.
And then?
As Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. He expelled the male shrine prostitutes from the land and got rid of all the idols of his fathers his made. Male shrine prostitutes, Kyle.
Yeah, it was mentioned last pod.
Pretty funny, though. So I looked it up.
Uh-huh.
And basically all the research I do is just Wikipedia. But I looked up sacred prostitutes. So I looked that up, and I'm just going to read from the top of the Wikipedia page. Sacred prostitution or temple prostitution or cult prostitution or religious prostitution are general terms for the rite of consisting of paid intercourse performed in the context of religious worship, possibly as a form of fertility rite. So basically,
yeah.
Yeah, but how fun would church be if you got to fuck for God? That like Christians. Okay,
yes, I'm listening.
I think I should explain
Do the
this a little
women
better.
have to have sex with me? Like, what's the thing here?
Well, they're paid for it. Or
by the church?
By you.
I'm paying them and then fucking them for God.
Yeah. in like God's like,
Am
dope.
I getting chlamydia for God?
Well, God of the Bible hates this, but this is a thing that they did like throughout. There was like a lot of different cultures and religions had shrine prostitutes, and it was just a thing. So
they had dude shrine pot. They're fucking dudes.
yes,
For God.
yes.
See, God secretly loves it.
Guess who would hate that the most?
Not God.
Well,
He
this-
pretend to.
He does hate. So, but here's what's funny to me. There's I forget the verse exactly, but it's do all things for the glory of God. Everything you do, do it as if you were doing it for God. And that's kind of like a mantra Christians live by.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best Christians, good people.
So does Wesley bang Stacy for God?
I mean, that is one context where you could do it.
Okay.
You know, but it's funny. But Christians do that. They like whatever your job is, like you're flipping burgers at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Do it the best you can do. Do it.
I mean, I like that as a general.
Yeah, it's a good way to just like live your life. But
Slacking off and doing everything shitty is no way to feel
Yeah.
good at the end of the day.
yeah, imagine if you were doing it for God Himself. That's kind of the Christian mantra, and then they become.
It's wild to assume He gives a shit about you.
Yeah, well, He does.
It's just Christian arrogance.
The whole premise of
There's
the Bible.
few moments in the Bible where He's actually paying attention to what anyone is doing.
Well, it's
Few.
That's
Very
true.
few.
That's true. He's not really paying attention, but when he does snap his head around, he's like, "They're not worshiping me." His whole thing is worship me the whole time.
You know, but He's not smiting Egyptians
When
or
you
know
get
what
to
I mean?
heaven, the whole reason He made us. This is what Christians believe. The whole
Mm-hmm.
reason He made us is to worship Him 24 hours a day, nonstop. Just holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's what heaven is, by the way.
So you got to go up to heaven, and then you got to give your buddy a friendly hand job.
I mean, if you did it for the glory of God, yes. If He came,
I mean,
and it was like fireworks for God.
I mean, God's your buddy, laying down, asking for a hand.
Oh
in
yeah,
heaven.
yeah. I mean, I thought we were friends. That's what.
Yeah, I thought we were friends. God's looking at you.
That's what He said to Judas as he walked out of the park, the Garden of Gethsemane. Judas, I thought we were friends. Peter betrayed Him 3 times
Son of
before
a
the
bitch.
cock crowed. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, oh yeah, the shrine prostitutes. So, it existed in all the fucking, not all, but many ancient cultures. And then this is what Wikipedia says about the Bible shrine prostitutes. As soon as I scroll down on my phone, here it is. Hebrew Bible. The Hebrew Bible uses 2 different words for prostitute, zona and kadesha or
Okay.
quidesha. The word zona simply meant ordinary prostitute or loose woman.
Slut?
But the word Kadesha literally means set apart in feminine form from the Semitic root, meaning holy or consecrated or set apart. Another nonsense word. A word made up for propaganda. Do you realize the genius of coming up with new words just to make yourself better
Just
than?
to win games of Scrabble.
Not even that. No, it's way
Have
more.
you ever played Scrabble with like 2-letter words that no one's ever used in a sentence?
I say shit. I mean, I have. This would never work on you, but with people I play with, because I'm generally smarter and more well-read than them, I just say like,
I've read 2 books.
that's a worm found in New Guinea, and people will go, "Oh,
You cheat in Scrabble?
I just make up words." Look it up.
So
Go ahead, fucking look it up.
What is the look it up rule in Scrabble?
There's a Scrabble dictionary. I don't really want to get
No, but if
into
you
it.
look it up, then you get penalized if you're
I
wrong.
don't know. I've only played like 10 times. The
Okay.
last time I played, I was making up words and challenging people to look it up, and they didn't. That's
Dude, I didn't know half the words you said this podcast.
Okay,
I'd be challenging you left and right, though.
I mean, that's what a prudent person would do. Prudent.
I think you get punished for it, though. I think you like lose your turn or something if you're wrong.
Okay, but so back to what we were talking about. So the Bible uses these prostitutes,
Yeah.
holy
hookers.
Nevertheless, I mean, I'm past the point of making my point. Just if you were a king of everything, like the who's the guy in North
Like
Korea?
the opposite of Metallica song.
Kim Jong Ding Dong, King Nothing, King Jong Ding Dong or whatever his name is. He just starts making up words. He's like, I'm Zappa Dick, and everyone's like, what's that? He's like, it is the coolest thing ever. It means that I'm rad and I'm untouchable and I'm shoot.
Oh, I know what you mean. It's like, yeah,
He's just
I'm not Mr. anymore. I'm Zer
yeah.
or Z.
It's even more than that. But Z is a whole, like Z is like above everything else. It's a new word that I created.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
To refer to myself.
Yeah.
And it's such a special word that you can't misuse it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like making up words that are become taboos. That's what I'm talking about. It's just none of those words mean anything. Holy, consecrated, set apart. I hate it. It drives me crazy. You're looking at me blankly, but I think that's
No, I'm thinking.
The power
I'm
of the
trying
language.
to think of a word we can make up to describe our podcast that has the same effect as holy.
Well,
it's hard though because words sound
holy
stupid if they're never used.
Well, yeah. So holy
if you make up a brand new word, it sounds retarded.
Holy has brand recognition, but when they first came up with it, Moses went up on the hill, came down, and was like, "You guys, God's holy," and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" He's like, "Don't even." You can barely say the word. It's so important. It's what God is, and it's the most important thing, and you can't misuse it.
Okay, the Bible can be holy. What's the opposite of hole? Something that goes in a hole.
Dirt.
Shaft.
Shafty.
We're shafty.
Sure. I mean, like the first swear word ever is like holy shit or holy cow when they made the cow, and you're like, you're not supposed to have a cow.
I get holy cow now.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
That makes a lot of sense.
Anyways. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. So then I was talking about the male prostitutes. So they got the holy prostitutes. The double meaning of those two words.
What do you mean?
We're running out of time. Just say it out loud.
Stop it right now then.
And we're back. Hopefully this is...
almost lost that app, for real.
We didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
We haven't lost an app yet.
No.
Except the Wesley app, actually. But we haven't had to re-record one.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Anyways... we're talking about male prostitutes.
Yeah.
And in any case,
couple of Johns, couple of gigolos.
In any case, the translation of sacred prostitute has continued, however, because it explains how the word can mean such disparate concepts such as sacred and prostitute. So it's a oxymoron. It's a fucking paradox to have sacred prostitute. It's like the filthiest thing in the world and holy. You have a holy, holy shit, so to speak. So,
ironically, they are very holy, though.
As put by DeGrado, I don't know who that is. That's someone that's getting quoted in this Wikipedia article. Neither the interpretation as priestess, not prostitute, nor as prostitute, not priestess, adequately represents the semantic range of the Hebrew word. So basically, they're saying this. It's a kind of a strange word that only refers to prostitutes around the temple. Back to Wikipedia, it says male prostitutes were called Kadesh. The Hebrew word Kalev, that's my name, Caleb, Kalev, below may signify male dancer or prostitute.
Male dancer? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, that's what it says.
They dance, they're strippers.
Strippers for God. Misogyny.
Dude, I think I could get that for bachelor parties.
But I want to just say, though, again, the God of the Bible hated this, but it was a practice that happened a bunch of times.
Then why didn't he do anything about it?
Well, he's about to. We're just exploring.
He likes to wait till they finish before he steps in, eh?
Yes.
I got to see them bust to make it real.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta see them bust. If you don't bust, it's not gay. That's what I heard.
The law of Moses was not universally observed in Hebrew culture under the rule of King David's dynasty, as recorded in Kings. In fact, Judah had lost most of the book of the law. This is fascinating. So David didn't even follow the Bible, so to speak, because it didn't exist in David's reign, says this article.
He doesn't need to follow the book if God is talking to him.
I know, it's crazy, this. It is craziness. So during the reign of King Josiah, the high king, the house of blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just skipping ahead. Examples of male prostitution, see sodomites, biblical trend, being banned under King Josiah are recorded to have been commonplace since the reign of King Rehoboam. So that's what we're talking about now. This is the banning of the prostitutes. Most Bible translations do not reflect the latest scholarship, and modern translations referring to King Josiah's bans on male temple prostitutes or simply male shrine prostitutes. Under the uncentralized religious practices that were commonplace, homosexual prostitution experienced a degree of cultural acceptance along with heterosexual prostitution among Hebrew tribes. Pretty crazy.
Sweet.
But under
Gay rights.
religious reforms, prostitution was not allowed in conjunction with the worship of Yahweh. These were expressly forbidden. I don't know. That was just to me an interesting aside about how prevalent male prostitution was throughout Hebrew culture.
Did God like it though?
No, God hated
You're
it.
saying the Jews are pretty gay, like as a
I'm saying everybody's gay, and anytime you make laws,
no. Those are all. You said they were all Hebrew.
definitely all my friends named Kyle are gay.
Every single one.
All of them are trying to get hand jobs, wondering if they're gay.
Shit.
It's
What should I do? Bust for the Lord?
bust for the Lord. Crack some. I mean, it's like a champagne shower for God.
A bubbler, if you will.
He even. So we're going back to the Bible here. So he expelled the shrine prostitutes. Verse 13. He even deposed his grandmother Maacah from her position as queen mother because she had made a repulsive Asherah pole. Asa cut down the pole and burned it in the Kidron Valley. Although he did not remove the high places, Asa's heart was fully committed to the Lord all his life. That's a pretty loaded verse, right, or a sentence right there. Asa, king of Judah.
In between burps.
Excuse me. Asa, king of Judah.
Yeah.
So he expelled the male prostitutes, killed his fucking grandma for worshiping the wrong god,
Well, yeah.
but did not take down the what does it say? Although he did not remove the high places. So places of worship, that means devil worship or not Yahweh worship is very prevalent throughout Judah. And he, as the king that God says did a lot of good stuff, wasn't powerful enough to remove its influence from the land. Just an interesting little note. Judah, which is
God's favorite.
no. Judah was never God's favorite. Abraham or Jacob was God's favorite, changed his name to Israel.
Uh-huh.
Israel was a person, became a country,
Yeah.
and all the people. It's as if Canada, when it was founded, the 10 provinces and 3 territories were names of people. So British Columbia was a guy, Alberta was a guy, Saskatchewan was a guy. That's kind of how Israel's broken down.
If Alberta was a guy, he had a truck with balls on it.
Yeah, for sure. Verse 15. He brought into the temple of the Lord silver and gold and the articles that he and his father dedicated. There was a war between Asa and Baasah, king of Israel, throughout their reigns. Baasah, king of Israel, went up against Judah and fortified Ramah to prevent anyone from leaving
Is
or
it a
entering.
holy war?
This is a civil war. It's not presented as a civil war. It's Israel and Judah, but those are all the Israelites, right? Judah eventually gets, amalgamated back into Israel. Verse 18.
If you searched war and Asa, you're
You're gonna get some mixed results.
yeah, you're gonna get some annals.
And alls. Asa then took all the silver and gold that was left in the treasuries of the Lord's temple and his own palace. He entrusted it to his officials and sent them to Ben-Hadad, son of Tabrimon, the son of Hezion, the king of Aram, who was ruling in Damascus. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone followed that. Let there be a treaty between me and you, he said, as there was a treaty between my father and your father. See, I am sending you a gift of silver and gold. Now break your treaty with Baasha, king of Israel, so that he will withdraw from me. So that's kind of crazy because we got Judah at war with Israel, all like Israelites, so to speak, and he sides with the Syrians and he says, "Yo, fucking take all this money, basically silver and gold, and kill Israel. Like, let's team up."
Some independent contractors.
Yeah. I mean, this is the
So what side is he on? I thought you were
Asa.
talking about Judah.
So Asa is the king of Judah.
Okay.
And he goes to Syria.
Wasn't Judah part of...
Judah was a person. That's what I was trying to explain.
Yeah, no,
to
but
you.
now that it's a place, it has nothing to do with Israel.
It's its own place. So yeah, Judah was a province. It's as if British Columbia seceded and became a country called
They're not
British
Jews,
Columbia.
though. No Jews live there?
I mean, this is semantics.
They're their own fucking thing?
I think they'd all be Jews.
They're not
still.
under God? Like the
Here's
rest
the
of
thing.
them?
God is God of both. They're both worshiping the
That's
same
what I
God,
mean.
offering sacrifices to beat the other, and God is like, I look at Judah good sometimes, and I look at Israel good sometimes. It's like the craziest split personality God shit he's done. His own, people, the people he set above everybody are civil warring, and he's favoring one faction over the other depending on who worships him
And
more.
then one faction just hired mercenaries to kill the other one?
Yes, that's what's happened in the story. Yes.
That's wild.
It
and
is.
God's just letting this happen? Oh, look. All my favorite people are now killing each other.
Well,
Normally when they do something bad, I kill them, and now they're killing each other. I think he wouldn't like that.
you'd think, but I don't know if you've noticed.
It's like you have a bunch of cool shit, and now because they're things, right? If you get a bunch of good video games, you leave the house, you come back, they're all smashed because they just fought each other.
Yeah, that would suck.
Or like if you're Angus, and all your chicken fingers got torn up and thrown in the trash.
They tore off.
Against your pizza, dude.
They tore out his fingers.
Dude, if you had pizza and chicken fingers, who would you want to win?
Pizza.
Yeah, the pizza for sure.
Let there be a treaty between. So I already read that. Verse 20. Ben-Hadad agreed with the king Asa and sent commanders of his forces against the town of Israel. He conquered Ijon, Dan, Abel-Beth, Makkah, and all Kinnereth, in addition to Naphtali. When Baasha heard this, he stopped building Ramah and withdrew to Tirzah. That's what it says.
Yeah, I believe you.
Then the
It
king.
just sounds like when a child has imaginary friends in imaginary places, and everything kind of rhymes because they don't think of anything very quickly. He was at Tamah, then he went to Rasha, and then Tirzah.
The king Asa issued an order to all Judah. No one was exempt, and they carried away from Ramah the stones and timber.
Roma.
Rome. It's Ramah.
Whatever.
And they carried away from Ramah the stones and timber Baasha had been using there. With them, King Asa built up Geba in Benjamin and also Mizpah. As for all the other events in Asa's reign, all his achievements and all he did and all the cities he built, are they not written in the annals of the book of Judah? In his old age, however, his feet became diseased. Then Asa rested with his fathers and was buried with them in the city of his father David. And Jehoshaphat succeeded him as king. I think that brings us to the end of the reading today.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think, Kyle? Did you learn anything interesting today?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first part of the Bible where the Jews have fought each other and
Yes.
wiped them out, right?
They're split. They're going to be split for a very long time.
And they were brothers, a generation ago, correct?
Yeah. Solomon, right, had
Mhm.
700 fucking
Oh,
princesses.
are people gonna say this is God's punishment, them killing each other? They don't say that?
It's kind of just like it's kind of just like two brothers fighting, honestly, and dad's like, I'm both your dads, sort it out. And God just kind of lets them fight it out for 500, 600 years.
That's insane.
It is insane. But that's what, and people just walk. When you read it, doesn't it seem like the most human book with human people and contrived the whole time? Not some divine narrative that we're just supposed to interpret and we're reading it wrong.
If there's an omnipotent being controlling this, and right, and
Yeah. And
so
leaving
his solution is what pretty much worst case scenario is to humans left on their own devices.
Yeah.
Effectively, his solution does absolutely nothing.
Well, I mean, in this case, God doesn't really take a side.
That's my point. Isn't that the worst?
He will take
Two
si-
people, brothers, with giant armies, your chosen favorite people are fighting. Wouldn't worst case scenario to be not take a side and they kill each other? Or is that good?
You'd think if God loved his people, he would either
That's what I mean. Yeah.
intervene so they wouldn't fight or take a side so one side would win faster.
Who's
And-
ever the right?
Yeah,
Who's
right?
ever the rightest? Most correctest?
It's crazy. Oh, I don't think I ever actually read what I was meaning to read a while ago, and this is as good a point as any to bring it up.
Oh, God.
When I was talking about the non-canonical books of the Bible, just so you can see how many there are.
Yeah.
These are all books that the Bible references that aren't in the Bible that may or may not have.
That's actually blowing my mind.
Yes, but there's way more than I thought. The book of Jasher, the book of the wars of the Lord, the chronicles of the kings of Israel, the book of Shemaiah the prophet, the manner of the kingdom, the Acts of Solomon, the Annals of David, the book of Samuel the seer, the book of Nathan the prophet, the book of Gad the seer, the prophecy of Ahijah, the book of Kings of Judah and Israel, the book of Jehu, the story of the book of Kings.
Holy shit.
Dude, I'm not even. There's many more. Like
How many do you think? Like 50? 20? 30?
Probably like 70.
Holy shit.
These are written works referenced in the Bible that aren't in the Bible.
You know what that's like? That's like God coming to me today and explaining something and then going, just like that scene in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
That's fucking wild.
It is crazy, isn't it?
Okay, so these aren't holy books, but yeah, they have similar stuff. You know when Dumbledore dies at the end of Harry Potter and then he gets
I
referenced?
never watched Harry
No,
Potter,
I'm
but
saying
sure.
like that's what's,
Yeah, it is. Man, it's mine. It's
Then he gets resurrected and then he becomes like a ghost-like figure. That's kind of what happened to me.
the way Christians though just kind of go, all the parts that are necessary are in here.
Yeah.
Pisses me
Like
off.
if
It just pisses me off. I want to go like each one of them. What exactly is relevant in this book? And they would all say different things. Even the most scholarly
of
scholars.
course, yeah.
Like, but that doesn't that. I don't know. Isn't that? I'm preaching to the choir here, but I was talking to this lady this week, and she just kept going. All the important parts are in there, and if everything we need is in
So
there.
the rest is filler?
That's what I kept saying. I'm like, why do we have this? You know.
That's what my grandma thinks too, and she thinks you just have to search for it by
Yeah,
reading it
the
over and over again.
interpretation, which is open to anyone.
Which is open to interpretation. That's the thing about interpretation. It's open.
So, but the way they say this is the sort, like this is it. This is the holy book.
That's
this is,
the source material of all the answers to humanity.
yeah. But only read it the way I read it. They all have their own fucking way of reading it, and it drives me insane. All right, I made my point. I've ranted enough.
Oh, wait.
Do we have any emails today,
No, we
Kyle?
got no emails.
Dun, dun, dun.
But coming out Wednesday, we have the Patreon.
Tell me about that, Kyle. What's that look like?
Patreon's dope. We get one extra episode a week, which is a little different than the Bible, than what we've been doing here. We've been doing a strict regimen of reading the Bible. Now we're doing, I guess, more of a loose format. We got interviews.
Yeah, we
don't know what else we're going to do. We could get suggestions, but right now we've been doing a bunch of interviews, and they've been crazy interesting.
interviews. Also, I've been doing some studying, Kyle, that will produce fruit. But we'll
Ooh.
have theological discussions. We have interviews. The interviews that we have are fantastic. I'm talking to an ex worship leader, prophetess, that used to go to my church
That's
this
not
week.
your mom?
That's not my mom. My mom is actually coming back on. God told her
What?
to. God told her
No
to.
way!
Yeah. Yes.
Seriously?
So either she's going to embarrass...
Is her laptop going to die?
If God could keep it charged, I hope.
If only.
I mean, either she's going to embarrass
Hopefully she's
me
not in Texas.
with the words of God. It'll be like I'm debating God himself.
She's-
speaking through my mom.
Literally.
Dude-
Could you imagine out debating?
I'll tell you what
The
I'm going
Lord
to
and
do.
Savior?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom knows this because I've told her this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to read just story after story of the worst thing God does and say, explain yourself. And then I'm going to ask her to ask what God says in defense of himself.
Oh my God. She's gonna.
That's going to be the podcast.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
She's gonna come up with something saying God doesn't talk to her all the time or something.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, for the
Right
sake of the
now,
podcast,
ask.
hey, for the sake of the podcast, if God gave a fuck about, the 600 people that are not following him right now, and I know that burns them up, and some of them are putting their dicks in people's butts. If he had anything to say to those people,
Yeah.
oh, she's going to be pissed. Dude, she's like very smugly like, I'm going to come back on your podcast.
You know what? Because she's ready. She thinks she's researched. She's talked to people. She thinks she has some good points to fight back against you. That's what it is.
Well, I
I can't wait.
Like Elijah, the gauntlet has been thrown.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there for that one.
Oh yeah, you can watch.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Patreon, it's patreon.com/Bible Beaters with an S. With the Patreon, you help support the podcast. You don't have to. If you don't have to, so if you don't want to support the Patreon, share and you want to support the podcast,
Look, Kyle,
you can share it.
There's a famous. There's a story. When
That helps
Jesus,
too. What?
was at the temple teaching people, telling people what to do with their lives. And the Pharisees and Sadducees were coming into the temple and making a big show of giving huge donations, right? They were dropping off, frankincense, purple
Myrrh.
robes, all kinds of gold.
You know what? If you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon, mail me some myrrh.
No, but Jesus
I'll take some
said,
myrrh.
worthless. Those people aren't giving anything
Yeah.
because they can afford it. And some old, destitute, poor, diseased woman came up and dropped her last copper coin.
And that's what we
God
want.
said her place in heaven is secured because that mattered. God wants your last copper coin, and so do we. If you can't afford it, fucking subscribe. All right?
If you're getting CERB
Yes.
to barely pay rent,
Yes. Take it from Justin and give it to us.
yeah, skip breakfast.
Yeah. You don't deserve it.
No, you don't. With the Patreon, you also get access to the entire back catalog. If you're not on the Patreon, you will get the first book of the Bible and the last 10 episodes.
Genesis.
So if you've kept up to this time, the podcast is still free. But if you're a new listener, you got to give us some dough.
Hang on. I'm going to say that again for all you fucking idiots out there. Most of the podcast is going behind a paywall in a fucking week, okay? So download it now or tell all your friends while it's free because Exodus, Leviticus, god damn it, Numbers, all that shit is going behind a wall. So I'm telling you got a week to get that. You get Genesis for free and our last 10 episodes.
Yeah, fucking download it.
So now's the
I don't give a
time,
shit. Yeah.
your last chance to tell everybody to listen to this shit for free, especially all that shit about building the ark and the temple. They're going to want the exact measurements. They're going to want to know where you can put your penis. They're going to want to know what to do with your wife if she cheats on her.
Yeah.
Cheats on you. They're going to want to know how to kill your daughter if you want to win a battle. All that kind of stuff. It's going behind the wall. So
new Patreon, new episode every Wednesday. Patreon.com/Bible Beaters. Also somethingcomedy.ca.
I'm gonna get down on the knees to pray cause I'm hung like Jesus. To get to heaven you ain't gotta die. Just bend over and let me inside cause I'm hung like Jesus. Oh, well I'm hung like Jesus. Yeah, well I'm hung like Jesus.
we're back.
We're back to properly plug the Patreon.
Plug your holes. Oh, I thought we were plugging holes.
Yeah, we're Asa Akira. Getting our holes plugged for $5 a month.
Queen Asa. What are
We're
the-
like OnlyFans. We're like metal OnlyFans. This is the most metal thing to do.
We're OnlyFans. I just realized
Yeah.
we're our OnlyFans. You know,
What about your wife's brother?
I guess we got 3 fans.
We got three total. What's his name? Daniel, right?
Sure. I mean, yeah, it is.
Is it?
It is. But
Daniel, as our only fan, we're gonna need you to give us all the money.
your last
Your last.
kroner.
Hey, and I know Sweden, the government just gives you tons of money no matter what. So your last little bit is a lot.
And we need it.
Yeah, and Caleb just got married.
And I got nothing.
And you have to support your sister now effectively through him, through donations to the podcast. You now have to support your
This
sister.
is directly correlated to Camilla's well-being.
She has signed her ticket. This has happened. They're married.
She tethered herself to this sinking ship.
And now the benefactor is directly reliant. Your sister is directly reliant on how well this podcast goes.